The inbound pass comes into Jordan. Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win! They win!
James catches, puts up the three. Won't go. Rebound time. Back out to Allen. His three-pointer. Bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining.
Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
Portland has 3 timeouts left. The Lakers have 2. Bryant to shot.
A chance to send the Thunder home. Lillard, long-range three.
What's up, everybody? How we doing? Happy Friday morning. Welcome to episode 3 of the NBA 48 Minutes Basketball Network NBA Draft Show, where we give you 3 prospects a week to talk about their draft profile and what we could expect from them. I'm Tim Daniel here, as always, with our good friend and yours, the host of At Large Bid, Parker Fields. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Pretty good. Ready to get into some of these prospects.
Yeah, man, a very, very dynamic group to talk about today. I'm really excited about. But let's recap our guys from last week. So we started off with Bryce Sensabaugh of Ohio State, who is on a tear right now. They obviously ended the regular season on a high note. They've won 2 games now in the Big Ten tournament, beating Taylor Bergfeld, hanging out, asking if anyone wants Caleb Love. I don't think so, unfortunately, but I do think
he should have left last. He should have left last year.
I think he's going to get a shot in Summer League. I think he might get some G League stuff. Shout out Sean McNeil, his brother Chris, friend of the program. Had a really, really good game last night. So Sensabaugh puts Ohio State on his back. They're rolling. We talked about Duke with Kyle Filipkowski. Obviously had a really good game last night. Duke in there moves on to the ACC. But Emoni Bates in Eastern Michigan, not even playing in the MAC tournament. Don't even make it. So last week, a little bit of a mixed bag of results for our guys.
100% for our guys. Filipowski. Sorry, I can never pronounce his name right. Oh God. He looked really good last night. I watched a little bit of that game, and he showed the flashes, like what I talked about. Like when he looks good, he looks really good, but when he looks bad, he looks really bad. And it's just a little bit of both. And if he can play consistent throughout this ACC tourney, and if Duke goes on a little run here and he plays consistent, he could definitely increase his draft stock.
Yeah, and that's what the tournament's all about for these guys. As far as Sensabaugh, Ohio State runs into Michigan State today, who you mentioned before we got on air. They played really well against. I don't know if I would pick them to win today. It's a 2:30 tip. I doubt they win, but the way that they're playing right now, the way that they're clicking, I still really, really like Chris Holtmann. I think he's a great coach. And I know they just had a down year this year. It just didn't work out, but it would be cool.
Young.
I want to keep watching Sensabaugh, so I'm rooting for them to win today.
Yeah, I am too. I'm rooting for them to win because literally when it comes to March, I literally root pretty much for whoever's the lower seed. If it's not the teams I like playing, then I pretty much just root for whoever's the lower seed because I like to see upsets.
Yeah, I agree. So for our second round portion of this week's episode, we're just going to kind of lump in all of the big time college basketball centers. If you clicked on the show, you saw we have advertised Drew Timme at Gonzaga. We're just going to go and talk about Oscar Tshiebwe and Zach Edey with him as well, and just kind of lump them all into one major group because that's basically their scouting reports are all very similar, except for the fact that Edey's 7'4". But other than that, yeah, they're pretty similar players. How are you enjoying conference week? I think the Big East has been awesome. I think every game yesterday except for Creighton Villanova was really good. Man, the Marquette St. John's game was like the perfect tip for the day. It was so fun. It was very competitive. That was really good. ACC's been solid. I know North Carolina lost to Virginia last night, but my Notre Dame Fighting Irish were out early, and we got the SEC starting today. For Kentucky. So how are you?
I'm excited to watch them. Yeah. I will say this is this next few weeks is the only couple weeks a year where I choose college basketball over the NBA.
Me too.
I've been choosing college basketball games last night over the NBA, which is so weird for me because you and me both are huge NBA guys. We love the pros more a little bit, but when
Yeah.
it comes to this time of year, like I want to watch college basketball because I just want to see. Now, it doesn't mean I want to watch, the 12-13 game in a conference tournament over an NBA game, but I do want to watch most of these games over the NBA, and I've been having really a fun time watching. And I mean, it's just so fun because like in 2 hours we're gonna have games starting all day, literally just 2 hours. Houston plays, I think, at 1, or no, they play at they play at 1, not 12. So, but there's some games on at 12 as well. Some real good games. Zach Edey plays at 12, so we'll be able to watch him here soon.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, man. These couple days for Selection Sunday, when you get down to the nitty gritty in the conference tournaments, nothing like it. So let's go ahead and talk about our first prospect today. This is our lottery prospect, if you follow on the show. That is Villanova's Cam Whitmore. Kind of went out with a whimper last night. Obviously, Villanova had a down year all year, while Whitmore was a highlight. Did start the year injured. But last night in a game where everything's on the line for their season, he was not very good. He really struggled. That Creighton team's awesome though. So, you can't fault him for that by any means, at a Villanova team that really, really was underwhelming. Whitmore last night, 4 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 of 7 shooting, 0 of 3 from the 3-point line, and had 3 big turnovers. So when you watch him, the obvious thing that jumps out is, oh my God, the athleticism.
Yeah.
Played for Carmelo Anthony's team in AAU in high school. Is probably the best jumper in the draft. I don't know. Amen Thompson might give him a run for his money.
He could probably give him a little run.
Yeah, he's pretty tremendous. But I think as far as he has great defensive instincts for his size. He's a really good dunker, but everything else is kind of like up in the air with him. I think he's going to learn to shoot. I think he has the mechanics to be a good shooter in the NBA, and I think he's kind of putting it together. As far as his position, he's probably second in the draft behind Walker of Houston. But dude, like I said, like his dunking ability, his athleticism is going to translate really well. And I think if you put him on a team kind of like Houston or Portland, where it's just like give the young guys roll the ball out and let him play, he's going to learn pretty quickly.
Yeah, 100%. Do we want him going to Houston though at this point? The way Houston's like,
I want no one going to
yeah,
Houston.
that's what I'm saying. Like it seems like Houston isn't even playing basketball really. I don't know what the hell they're doing over there. It's just Kevin Porter Jr. and Jalen Green and get the hell out the way. Literally, it's what they do. But Whitmore, I know for you, he was literally your favorite prospect in the draft before the season, outside of obviously Scoot Henderson and Victor Wembanyama. You had him, I remember, early on. Has he fallen for you a little bit?
He has. I think a lot of it was just more education as far as like the rest of the draft. Like I talked about, like we don't get a chance to really watch a lot of Overtime Elite, obviously. So seeing Ahmed Thompson, I was blown away.
Mm-hmm.
With everything in the air, it seems like the way things are going, Brandon Miller is unbelievable. He's so freaking good. It's just this whole weird.
It seems like he's not
awkward-
going to get in trouble, so it's like,
Yeah, just this very uncomfortable scenario that's like around him. And look, if you're a college basketball person, where like that's your college basketball guy you're hanging your hat on this draft is Brandon Miller.
yeah.
So those guys definitely jumped up. Jarris Walker, who I just talked about from Houston, we're gonna see him today, like you talked about pretty early. Is a guy that I was really high on, just not as high as on Whitmore, but I think he's passed him as well. And I think part of that's just the injury to start the year. He missed the first half of the season. Villanova had a really bad year. This transition from Jay Wright, being a team that was in the Final Four last year, did not follow up very well. And I think he just kind of, I don't know how much he improved. Now, if he goes out and has this awesome combine and like shows his ability to shoot, like, dude, he might hop back in the top 5. But right now, I probably have him in that 9 to 12 area.
Yeah, I just feel like as of right now, he's not going to be a super impactful rookie. I don't think so. It's not like he was a great college player. He was okay. He was solid. He was a solid friend, but like it's not like he was some, Brandon Miller, for example, like putting up crazy numbers on one of the best teams in the whole country, maybe the best team in the country. He wasn't doing that this year. I mean, and I do think it did have to do a little bit with Kyle Neptune taking over as the head coach, Jay Wright out. I mean, they're a program that's dominated the last 20 years. Jay Wright has been there. Yeah. And him not being there definitely was a little bit of a hole for Whitmore and the rest of the roster because he committed to Jay Wright, correct?
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that definitely can affect something. That for sure can affect something. That's you've seen in the past. Lots of players have had scenarios like that where, like, say, something happened. It doesn't have to be a new coach, but something happened that wasn't what they signed up for when they came to college, and their draft stock fell, and then they ended up being just fine and very good players. That has happened a lot. That's happened a lot, and
Yeah.
just things that come to mind is, like, for example, like Bull, his draft stock fell so much by just a little injury, and he's ended up being a very solid player in Orlando this year. And I mean, and that's just somebody who was a 41st pick. Whitmore's not falling that much. That's somebody who came to mind. But I think Whitmore, the one thing I want to see from him is just an improved jump shot. It's not like he shot bad this year, 34%. However, it's just like, it doesn't seem like he is comfortable, shooting a high volume of them all the time. That doesn't seem like that's there yet. The confidence fully for the three ball. I just want to see an overall improved skill set outside of his athleticism. His athleticism is insane, like Tim talked about a little bit earlier. But if he get a better all-around skill set going, learn how to facilitate the ball a little bit better, because he is in the NBA likely going to be a shooting guard, small forward. He's going to be a wing, for sure in the NBA. And, like, nowadays wings, you got to be able to handle the ball and facilitate a little more than he did in college. I mean, 0.7 assists per game, but that could also be due to a lot of times systems in college. He didn't really have the chance to facilitate as much. But yeah, I just think playmaking, little more consistency in his jump shot, and I think he's going to be a really good player. I do, but I think it's going to take a couple years. I don't expect him to be really good right away. So maybe, like you said, the Rockets might be a good spot for him, actually, because he won't have to play meaningful basketball for a couple years. At least we don't think. Unless something crazy happened.
The other thing about him too is when he's drafted, he won't even be 19 yet. Like,
yeah, he's young.
So, the youth is definitely there. Yeah. So you kind of look at, like, where I kind of have him projected. Some of the teams that, like, make sense for him. Oklahoma City.
I want to add one thing. We didn't talk about either real quick. He is built for his age as a
19. My God.
We didn't talk about the fact he's NBA size ready now. That we didn't talk about. He's 232 pounds, and when you look at him, he's 232 pounds. He's built.
Yeah,
for an 18-year-old, he's built. So he's gonna fill out even more. He might be a 250-pound pure muscle guy in the NBA at some point.
I agree. Some of the teams I think would be a really good fit for him. Oklahoma City, I think, makes some sense as far as, like, Shea, Giddey. They just love stacking up on young guys anyway. Him next to Lou Dort with just their, like, ability to defend would be really nice. Washington, he's from that area, so that could be a really nice thing where, the homecoming.
His career might go to die, though. Anybody the Wizards draft who wasn't Beal or John Wall ends up horrible. I swear.
Yeah, you remember Johnny Davis?
Yeah, literally, that's what I'm talking about. Anybody who's drafted in that, like, 8 to 12 range by the Wizards, because Beal and Wall were, like, top 3 picks. So
yeah. Toronto would be fun.
I'd like to see that. Just Toronto get another wing. Oh my God.
And how about right now at pick 14? What if he dropped to the Lakers?
I mean, the Lakers would take him. Shit.
Yeah. I think if Cam Whitmore's there at 14, like, you're like, oh crap, like, I just got I just won the draft.
No, for sure.
But he's a guy that could really move around. I think, a big combine for him, because he's going to do a lot, and just proving he's healthy. Because look, there is no more games for him. There's no more, there's no more Big East tournament. There's no NCAA tournament. There's no NIT. So his kind of
Villanova's headed to the CBI or whatever. They would never play in that.
Yeah, I doubt that.
Never.
But this is going to be interesting. So I from here, everything is about interviews and getting in shape, and so it's gonna be really dynamic to see what happens for him from here. But he's a guy I'm pretty high on still. I have a lot of faith that he's gonna end up being a good NBA player. So let's go ahead and move to our mid-first guy, and that is one of my other favorite players in this draft. Old Maxwell Lewis from Pepperdine. Played at Compass Prep in high school. 3-point shooting machine normally. Has the ability to just, like, spray. 35% this year was not ideal, but something where he kind of dropped a little bit because he got off to a great start on his season. Super talented guy. He's going to have the ability to score at the next level. He's definitely a first rounder in my eyes, but he's a good passer, and he's probably a 2-level scorer. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a dunker. But some of the things that teams are really worried about with him is the inability to hold on to the ball has kind of popped up quite a bit. Not much of a defender, but he is a situational type of player. He is built for one thing in particular, and that's the score. So he's a guy that I could see on a bench of a really good NBA team and kind of develop there. So what do you think when you kind of take a look at him?
Like you said, I could definitely see him being really impactful early on in his career off the bench, being a scorer, being a spark plug off the bench, because he can get buckets. I feel like he'll be able to do that at the next level, and it'll come pretty naturally to him. One thing, I'm not going to lie to him, he scares me a little bit to even draft him with a first-round pick. He's really slim, like really slim.
Yeah.
Like not even 200 pounds at 6'7" is kind of scary. Not just that, he played at the mid-major level, so that's always just a little bit scarier because you just didn't see him against top competition all the time. Another thing with him that just scares me a little bit, I feel like his archetype that gets drafted has a high. There's a lot of those guys that get drafted, those wings in like the early 20s that end up doing nothing and like never even like doing anything on an NBA roster. I feel like that's a big archetype for that. I don't know, but things I do like about him, his scoring ability is really impressive. He can shoot the shit out of the ball when he's on fire. He does struggle from time to time with consistency. However, I think he can definitely improve on that. More reps, more shots, more confidence, everything like that. He did have a tendency sometimes to just go invisible in some games, which is a little bit worrisome. You don't like to see guys who I always like to see, like, out of production wise, just based off production. I always like to see guys who never drop below like 10 points in a game. Like they might not give you 40 in a game, but they're always giving you at least like 10. Like Lewis had some 2s, some 4s. Like those games kind of scare me because it's kind of like when you're the number one option, you can't be taking 7 shots. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're 0 for 7. You keep shooting the ball if you're open. Your team needs you to be more assertive. So that might be a little bit of a confidence thing there, like where he doesn't want to keep shooting when he's struggling like that. And if he's going to be a spark plug, like we're talking about, that would be like his ideal role. You can't have that at all because you need to just shoot like if you miss, think Jordan Clarkson cares when he misses? Right. Hell no. Think J.R. Smith cared? Hell no. That's what I'm saying. So like that scares me a little bit. Like there's a lot of games in here. You take a look at his like shot charts, like 5 shots, 7 shots. Like that's a little bit scary.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that's definitely some things I want to look at for him. And the thing is too, like you said, like when he goes to an NBA team with where his archetype, his projection, it's not like he's going to be a guy who gets a ton of shots, especially where he's going to be picked. Because look, he's going to be picked in the 20s. He's going to be picked by teams like Memphis. He's going to be picked by teams like Sacramento. Even Brooklyn with the guys they brought in from the Durant and Kyrie trades. Like, how does he fit in for a team like that where Mikal Bridges is becoming just super dynamic even more and more. And
I'd like to see him on Golden State. I feel like that would be a good fit.
Yeah, but
all the young guys go and suck there. So no, actually, I was gonna say,
other than Jonathan Kuminga, when you put like the guys who go there, like they don't really end up finding a role. No. So it's hard for him. Maybe right now the Clippers have that 30th pick. Maybe he goes there. Because they had the Bucks first rounder. He goes.
Best bet for him is getting to a team that's bad that got at somebody else's pick.
Yeah,
that's what I think would be his best bet, honestly.
Like Indiana, and that has those 2.
Yeah, that'd be good for him. That'd be a good landing spot.
Yeah, because India has those 2 first rounders at the Yanks, the Boston pick and the Cleveland pick. Yeah, I think that's gonna be Sacramento. Maybe that's that 25 area. So. It'll be really kind of see where he goes is going to be something, because I could definitely see him being a guy who's in the G League for part of the year.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page here. Where
I have Denzel Valentine fears with him.
I have high bust fears with him. I really have a high. I have. Oh, what was his name? The guy traded for Mikal Bridges. That was you know who I'm talking about, right? The wing.
Yeah.
I'm blanking. Sixers. Don't remember. Texas Tech.
Tells you everything.
Texas Tech. Small forward. What was his name? I don't know.
Zaire Smith?
Yes, yes. That's just the first guy I thought to mind. They're not the same player by any means, but when
I
was
thought of
just
Troy Brown, but Troy Brown's playing decent for the Lakers now.
bust early on in his career, and that's just like Lewis. I think it's going to be heavily on who he's drafted by if he ends up being good or not. I really do believe that because I feel like if he's in the wrong situation, he might never really carve anything out. But I feel like if he gets drafted in the right situation, he could have a really nice career. I just think he's a lot more situational who he gets drafted by. Like if Scoot Henderson gets drafted by the Rockets, he'll end up being a superstar still. Like I don't care who he gets drafted by. It doesn't matter to me. But like he's a little bit more worrisome to me on who he gets drafted by.
Speaking of Scoot, I watched some highlights of a game they played recently, and he looked like an outside linebacker blitzing. Like dude.
Yeah, he just seems like Russell Westbrook when I watch him. That's
it's the complete vibes I get for sure. All right, so we're gonna kind of do these guys all together, like we talked about, just because they're all pretty similar. So let's start with Oscar Tshiebwe here. Obviously, you're a Kentucky fan, so you know a lot about him. First thing that's going to jump out, obviously, his age is not going to be in his favor. He'll be 23 when he gets drafted. But as far as everything else goes, you know, he's not the rim protector everyone kind of projects him to be. Like maybe in college he is, but not at the NBA level. He's obviously not going to stretch the floor, but he is an awesome rebounder. I think he's going to get a shot to get drafted, but he's going to get drafted in that like 50 to 60 range.
I think he, not even biased, I don't think he's going to be some great player, but I think if any of them, I think him and Edey have a better chance of carving out a role than Timme. I really do.
I do too.
I think him and Edey both have a better chance. And I think Tshiebwe, if I have to be honest, has the best chance of carving out a role because I just feel like he could maybe just become a hustle guy who just comes in and just 10 minutes a game, Winyon Gabriel-esque, like not Jared Vanderbilt. Jared Vanderbilt his rookie year before he developed some skills and can just hustle. Like the guy will play hard. And I think he's a lot more athletic than Tshiebwe or than Edey and Drew Timme. Like you said, he's one of the best college rebounders ever. Like the dude is insane at rebounding the basketball. He's not going to protect the rim at the NBA level. I completely agree with that. Oh God. ESPN started playing some music there. He's only 6'9", so he's not going to protect the rim at the NBA level. That would be really tough for him. And I don't even know if he is a legit 6'9". I have no idea. He could be smaller, honestly. You never know. And I think he could carve out a role being a 5 to 8 minutes just hustle. Like seriously, I really do for some team. And his jump shot has developed more. It's still not there. But he's gone from he couldn't shoot outside the paint when he first got to Kentucky, and now he's hitting against Florida. He hit like 8 mid-range jump shots. So like it's definitely improved. It's not there yet, but it's improved.
Yeah, the lateral movement is what kind of takes away from me. I think he's a guy who's going to play in the G League. I don't know, kind of what that's going to be for him, but
I think he's going to go to some foreign country and be a monster. That's what I think's going to happen with him.
I can definitely see he goes.
I don't think him minding to play like overseas. I feel like he would do that. Like I think
he made enough money in NIL at Kentucky.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He's not worried about it. Yeah. Zach Edey is obviously the most interesting of this group, being the fact he's 7'4". He has all the traits as far as, he can score, he can rebound, but also another guy who, when he gets drafted, he'll be 21 and is probably, I give him props for being from the IMG Academy. Obviously did a lot for him. He's probably the Naismith AP Player of the Year. But, if you watch him, you're like, oh, 7'4" Luka Garza. Okay.
See, I think that's a little disrespectful to Luka Garza, though. I do. I think Luka Garza is carving out a role already in the NBA in his second year, and I don't think Edey's going to do that. I don't think Edey will. Like, Luka Garza is averaging like 8 points a game. I don't think Edey's ever going to do that. Like, in all seriousness.
Yeah, you might be right.
Garza can shoot the. Garza's got a strap on him. Like, seriously, Garza can shoot the ball. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't. Garza's just like a bad Jokic. It's what Garza is. So I don't think Edey is that. I don't think Edey will ever score Like Garza at 7 points a game this year. Yeah, I don't think Edie's ever going to average 7 points a game in the NBA. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think that's happening.
Yeah, you're probably right. But I don't know, like, he's in that other range for me. He's in that like potential, like in that 50 to 60 or not drafted range. So
Do you think there's any world where Edie is good? Like any alternate universe?
I think he's a guy that if you put with like the main Celtics, he'd be awesome. Like truly, no, really, I do. I think, like G League basketball is not like
No,
an
it's not.
insult
No.
at all.
It's just honestly, if you know you're not gonna ever really get to the league. Like I know the people who stay in the G League are just trying to make it to the NBA somehow because you can make way more money if you go overseas. Way more money.
yeah.
So I don't know.
So yeah, I think that's kind of his route there. But we'll see. And then Drew Timme from Gonzaga, amazing college career. I mean, obviously, will never win a national championship because they're not winning one this year. But dude, like, the college resume speaks for itself. But I can't see him getting drafted. You talk about the two guys we just mentioned. And then let's look at other guys in that area. Arthur Kaluma from Creighton. Does he project as a better NBA player than him? No. Coleman Hawkins from Illinois. Definitely not. Adam Bona from UCLA. No. And I don't really know much about guys like Tristan Vukovic or, Osami Ndiaye or, so I don't know anything about those guys necessarily. I do need to read more on them. But Timme is going to get a summer league invite. He's probably going to play a year or two in the G League. And then he's going to go play in like Spain and be awesome there. So.
Yeah, 100%. And don't be shocked if Drew Timme lights up the summer league a little bit. Like, don't be shocked if he plays really well in the summer league.
He has that vibe.
He gives me vibes. He's gonna average like 15 in the summer league, and then like somebody's gonna be like, "Oh," but then like you're gonna wonder why he got cut in the preseason.
We're gonna see him.
You'll be on a preseason roster. I'll say that. Yeah, I think all three of these guys will be on a preseason roster.
He'll be like on the Sixers. Like on the preseason roster.
I could see that.
The training camp invite. Yeah.
Maybe Jokic's back up.
I could 1,000% see Drew Timme just like lighting up TBT. Like
no, yeah, like I think he's gonna be wherever. I don't think he gives off the impression that he really wants to be a like. Yeah, I feel like he wants to be a star, like wherever he's playing. Like I feel like, and deservedly so. Like he dominated the hell out of college basketball. I mean, he's had one of the greatest careers in his conference ever. Like he's one of the best Gonzaga players ever. He's had a hell of a college basketball career. But the lack of jump shot is what kills him. It really does. Because if you're this like passing, slow big man, like that's kind of popularized in the NBA right now because of Jokic. Obviously, he's not Jokic's passing, but the Vucevic's, there's a few of them. There's Garza is a backup. Like this is a kind of a archetype that's becoming in the NBA, like a good passer and everything like that. And he is a good passer. Problem is he can't shoot. That is the biggest knock on him. I think he could carve out a role if he could shoot. He can't shoot at all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely think that he's just such a limited ceiling.
But he would need a sniper for him to carve out a role. He would need to be like a 38% shooter, and he literally doesn't shoot threes at all. 0.73 attempts per game. So,
yeah, I'm not feeling it, man. I'm not feeling it.
The lowest on Timme of the three.
I am too. Probably the highest on Edie of the three, and the lowest on Timme.
Yeah, say I'm Edie and Shibwe are pretty much even for me, and then Timme's the lowest for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, so we at the point in the day where we can do our tankathon sim to see what how the draft's going to shake out.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's see how it goes. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
And oh boy, we got upsets at the top three, Parker. Jumping up 10 spots, the Toronto Raptors.
Oh.
Jumping up 4 spots, the Indiana Pacers. Jumping up 1 spot, the Charlotte Hornets. So the Rockets at 4, Pistons at 5, Spurs at 6, and the Magic 7, 8. Oklahoma City at 9, Portland at 10. So that would be funny
Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, dude, if Victor Wembanyama, if the Raptors got the number 1 pick, Victor Wembanyama would be like just a god.
No, if the Raptors had Wembanyama, I'm not kidding you, that team would be terrifying.
Yeah.
Because all they're really missing, like defensively, they would give up 90 points a game. Who the hell is scoring on them?
I know.
Siakam, great defender. And just long. OG Anunoby is probably the best wing defender in the NBA. Van Vliet's scrappy as hell. He works his ass off on defense. He's small, but I mean, if they replaced Van Vliet with like imagine if they had like prime Ben Simmons as their point guard. Dear God, that would be terrible. Like if they had a bigger point guard than Van Vliet, like right now they just throw out 4'6'7" to 6'10" wings and Van Vliet in certain lineups. Now they have Pirtle, so they have a center now. But they were just throwing out Siakam at center before they got Pirtle back. And that would be – I would like to see him on the Raptors. That'd be a fun team to see him on.
Yeah, I know. If the Pacers actually somehow did get to the point where they got Scoot Henderson, I think I would get a ticket package. I think I'd go up 13 times. Like,
you think him and Halliburton would work together?
No, but
yeah, I don't either. I don't think they would draft him because like Halliburton obviously is ball dominant, and so is Scoot Henderson.
Yeah, they might like if the Pacers got like the 2nd pick, I could definitely see them like trading back and to like a 1 pick to where they get like the 3rd pick and take on like a 2nd rounder.
If I was the Pacers, or if I was getting drafted by the Pacers, that would be like the best team to get drafted by. If
oh
you're
my
like
God, for sure.
Like it's like the most fun player to play with in the NBA. Like he is so unselfish for being that good. Like at this young, he's so like you don't usually see guys being this much of a pass first point guard that's actually like can score the hell out of the ball too. Like this early in their career, you don't see this that often. Like 10 plus assists this early in your career, but you're also averaging 20.
Yeah,
more than that now. I think he's on a killer stretch right now.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Parker, is next week the week? Is it Thompson twins time?
Yeah, we can talk about them next week.
It's Thompson twins time next week, man. Let's just knock them both out together. I think that, they gone through life together. They're twins. They were born a minute apart from each other. Let's just do a profile on both of them next week.
All right.
Unbelievable dudes, like super talented kids. Going to both be top 8 picks.
Mm-hmm.
Man, yeah, I'm so excited.
Is there any chance? I don't know. Is there any chance like a team has 2 picks in the lottery? Do any teams have that?
Orlando.
So hey, maybe.
Yeah, because Orlando has the Bulls pick.
Okay, so but I wouldn't bank on 100% because I do think there's somewhat of a chance the Bulls get in the playoffs. So I don't know.
No, it's the only way the Bulls get that pick is if it's in the top 4.
Oh, okay. So they 100% get it. Yeah, no, but I was saying, but it won't be lottery if they get in the playoffs. Is what I was saying. It wouldn't be lottery pick if they get in the playoffs.
Right, but they're not going to make the playoffs. So
you don't.
worry.
Well, they'll be in the game. They'll be in the play-in. So.
Oh
yeah, they're competing with the Pacers, I think, for that last spot, right?
Let's see right now. I haven't looked in a couple days just because they disgust me. Yeah, they're a game behind the Wizards.
Oh yeah, they're not getting in the play-in because I think the Wizards are getting ahead of them. I thought they were the 10, the Wizards were the 9, and the Pacers were the 11. I didn't realize. Actually, I don't. I'm not gonna say that and put all my money on the Wizards. So I don't know. But I don't think they're good because I feel like the Raptors are gonna get in. And
here's the Bulls schedule coming up. It's not good, Bob. So they play Houston tomorrow. You should win that game.
You never know though. Shit.
Right. You never know. Next week, Sacramento, Minnesota, and Miami, back to back. Then 2 games against Philly. So,
God,
that's Murderer's Row for the Bulls.
Yeah, they did beat the hell out of the Nuggets the other night.
They did, yeah. That was unbelievable.
I don't know what has happened to DeRozan. He's all of a sudden passive, and no offense, if Zach LaVine's the star, you're not going to win anything because I don't think Zach LaVine is very
been saying it for years
contributing to winning. I think he's a good player, and I think as a third option, he would be a hell of a player to a winning team, but I don't think you're winning shit if Zach LaVine is your number one option. And I don't really know why DeRozan has kind of second half of the year decided to make DeRozan the number one option, or make LaVine the number one option.
Because LaVine's been efficient as hell for like since All-Star break. He's been really
good.
Good.
He has, but it's just like, has it led to wins? No, they've been worse. So it's like,
no, but you know, it is what it is. All right, man. So the Thompson twins will fill out some bubble guys. We're gonna be going on Tuesday next week. Just because I'm gonna be traveling to Charlotte, North Kakalaki next week. So for a couple days. So all right, man. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping on, and we'll see you guys next week.
See it.